Yo, I got a joke.
Yo, tell it.
What do you call a cheese that isn't yours?
I already know that joke. Nacho
You
cheese.
thought that was pretty funny.
That is pretty good. That's pretty good. What did the what did the fish say when he ran into the concrete wall?
I don't know.
Damn.
What do you call fish with no eyes?
Oh, I don't know.
Fish. What do you call
Pretty good.
what do you call a cow with two legs?
I have no idea.
Lean beef. What do you call a cow with no legs?
I don't know.
Ground beef.
Cow jokes. Cow jokes. I like this genre. I like
Go
the
ahead.
genre. Oh, I had one more I was gonna tell you, but I can't remember it now.
Uh, so
Oh, I
I
do remember. What is a pirate's favorite letter?
see.
See, you knew. I told you that one before.
Yeah, you did. No,
I told you that one.
R. It's R.
Yeah, you'd think it's R, but it's the C they love.
Yeah.
All right,
So
dad jokes.
we've been doing dad jokes a lot in our car on the way to school. Um, we actually so we go through like car line and we have this little like scanner and there's a teacher there and they scan the car before they get dropped off, and we get all these dad jokes, and then we get to the teacher and she scans, and my son always has a dad joke like ready to go for the teacher. And now like she's like expects it every single day, and like it's like a new thing, and she absolutely loves it. Like it's like she's like, this is the highlight of my day. Like every day it just like gives her like a huge smile on her face. And it's cool, man, because like it's like it's cool for my kids too to see that. So like be the light, right? Be the shining light to like gives another person, another human being, like a smile on their face to start their day. And I didn't really ever think that it would get to this, but like it's now a thing. Like every single day, like we're like the dad joke, kids, and they do that with the teacher, and it just got me thinking about like things we can do as a dad to not only impact our kids positively, but also like impact the people around us, like impact other people that are in our lives, which kind of like leads to what we're going to talk about today. So do that. You should start doing dad jokes to your teachers.
Yeah, I should. I should. I don't know why it made me think of this, but and I think so. I think there's a couple things that as you talked about. There's when you inject a very high level of intentionality in your life, some things can seriously happen, right? And so one of the things that just resonate with me that always pops out of my mind about our vacation this past summer in Italy is my kids. My kids were like, "Dad, like people everywhere we go in the world," and I was like, "Why do you say that? Like, I don't know anybody in London." And they're like, "Because you're always talking to people. Like you're always talking to people."
You
And the
do like
way
to
that
talk.
I guess the way I talk to people though is usually very like I joke with them. I try to make them laugh. And I put my hand on people, right? Like it's just how I interact with people. But it was funny because I love talking to people, and then I love just, I love just saying hello. But why that's important has nothing to do with me. It has to do with, I mean, that's just being true to myself, but my kids notice it, right? And it's also like this Thursday thing. So many people recently had been like, "Oh yeah, Thursday we can't do anything because it's your day. You just do go do something, right?" My mom just did it today. My wife, I didn't realize she plans around Thursdays. Like she's like, "Oh, we can't do carpool on Thursdays because that's a day that." Like I didn't know she was planning around that. I didn't even know it was something she was aware of. And so my point to all that is people, especially the most important people in your life, notice the things you do, right? They notice the things you do, good and bad. And a way to kind of supercharge that and be an influence in your community is because kids are especially, they're sponges, right? A way to supercharge that, and a challenge that I have for dads out there, is be more involved in your kids' sports or activities, whatever it is they do, right? If they, like, there was a dad, there was a dad, I've totally forgot about this. But there was a dad at we went to a football game, high school football game, took my boys or took my kids, and because my boys play, I coached them in the local Green Mountain football program. And there was a dad doing and I think there's some TikToks on this too, whatever, but there was a dad that I was watching, and he did the entire cheerleader routine in the stands, right? And so, like, he's standing there and he's
That's
doing the
awesome.
whole routine, and his kid, his daughter's on the cheerleading squad. And it was awesome. But, like, that's taking an interest, right? It's taking an interest in being involved, because I imagine the time that went into him learning was the time that him and his daughter bonded. Um, and so, when you can inject yourself into that, right? Like, all the football that my son learned, good or bad, this year, for the most part, I was directly involved with because I raised my hand to be his football coach. My wife coaches the boys in basketball, and she's very, very influential and that's a thing that they have, right? That they have. My wife used to coach my daughter in basketball too. Erica's a big basketball person. But there's opportunities to plug in and show an interest and be very engaged. And you don't have to be like, especially when they're young, you don't have to be like particularly good at football, basketball. She also coaches soccer. She never played soccer, but she coaches like the little, my little guy. And so my point to all that is, if you're going to be influencing those around you that you love anyways, then you might as well, one, be intentional about it. And two, you might as well do it. You might as well do it on purpose, right? You might as well, like, as much as you can, be as involved as you can, because before you know it, those opportunities are going to be gone. At least with your kids. They're never gone, but they'll be gone with your kids. And you think about your own life. Some of the most influential people in your life are probably coaches.
Coaches. Yeah.
And they weren't your dad necessarily, just coaches. Well, you have an opportunity as a dad or a mom to be that coach and to be that parent and have that impact and have that influence, which is very powerful.
Yeah, man, for sure. I had quite a few different experiences, with one, coaching, and two, again, just being involved, like, volunteering at the school, volunteering and I would go and volunteer and be like the library parent at the school, and just help, like, the librarian, like, check out books and put away books and stuff like that, like when the kids come in for their library time. And I tell you what, man, the the look of joy and pride on your child's face when they see you in the school, and you're the one, volunteering, helping, doing library, doing spelling tests, doing reading time, going and meeting them for lunch, or, I know you do the what's it called, the dad's, what's
Watchdogs. Yeah.
watchdogs, yeah, watchdogs, and you go and play on the playground with them, and, like, dude, like, the pride that they have of, like, that their dad is the one that's there, doing that. I took my daughter, I volunteered as a dad to go on a field trip with them and, like, be like a carpool, and like, it was awesome, man. Like, I think I was one of two dads, and the rest their moms. And the kids just flock to the dads for some reason. They just flock, like, they all come to the dad, and they, like, they want to, like, they're touchy feely. They, like, will step on your toes and, like, come up and say hi and give you hugs. And then they start to recognize you, and they see you around a whole lot more. And, like, when your child sees, like, the other kids in the class, like, be attracted to you, like, that's really, really cool too. I had one experience, I think, was, just, it was awkward but really interesting and cool at the same time. Like, I coached soccer this year for my little one, my boy, and it was a co-ed soccer team, but there's only one girl on the team, and it was all the rest boys. And I tried to be really like inclusive and bring her in and kind of be one of the guys, if you will. And one of the practices we got done, and she and her dad was on the sidelines, just like sitting there on the sidelines, and she came up at the end of practice. She's like, "Thanks, Coach Stu. That was a lot of fun." And she like came up and like just gave me like a huge hug, right, and like just wrapped her arms around my legs, and like the dad was kind of like watching a little bit from the far, like like looked over, and he was just kind of like looking, and like it was interesting because like she came to me and gave me this like huge bear hug, to be a part of the team. And it was really cool. It like just had an influence on me, but now obviously it just had an influence on her too. But we can have an influence on these kids, right? Not only our own kids, but like other kids that might not get that attention and might not get that feedback from another male role model in their life. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, man. I love it. I love it. There's these are formative years, and this is an opportunity for us to, I say these are formative years, childhood until these kids leave, right? Like you have the opportunity to plug in and pour in and just potentially be just be that influence, that change, that thing that the kid, they may not even remember your name, but they'll be like, I had a coach at one time who like, he told me how much he cared about me. Like that was, that's like the only dude that's ever said that to me in my entire life. Like whatever. I mean, we don't think they're that extreme, dude. A lot of my kids, a lot of football kids, broken homes, just like I grew up in, right? I grew up in a broken home, but I had, by the grace of God, I had the love of a mom and a dad and step parents, and I had stability in each of those. I may have moved every year, but each of those locations was relatively stable. Um, some of my boys, dude, I don't even like know who their dad is. There's no dad. Or potentially there's multiple, iterations of boyfriends or whatever. And they're starving, dude. You don't know. You have no idea what kid you're looking at and what their situation is, how good or bad or whatever. And it doesn't really matter. You're just making yourself available, right? And you're being somebody who's a positive influence on these kids' lives, and it's powerful. It's powerful, and it also makes you better. Like I
100%.
have to be very conscious not to lose my freaking mind on these fifth grade boys. Like it taught me so much patience, dude. We went over. We didn't win a game. They got worse throughout the season. It's weird. They got way better in practice and they got way worse in games. It was the strangest thing I've ever seen. But it really gave me an opportunity to be like, oh my gosh, I want to pull my hair out. Thank you, God, that I'm bald, first off. And second, like, I just want to yell at these boys. Like, I just want to yell at them. But
Oh,
like,
that's
it
good.
forces you to like learn self control, right? And to be better and to learn to be gracious and to learn to be graceful. And yeah, man, it's good. It's a good all around thing. And it's not necessarily getting better. More and more dads are not like raising their hands. If anything, more and more households are devoid of any kind of positive male role model. So like we got to step up, dude. We got to step up and make a change, because now I'm influencing this whole group of boys, and maybe they're the future, that not maybe they're the future dads who will potentially plug in to my great grandkids' lives. I don't know, but it's something that it's an enduring influence, and so we should do that, and we should do it with joy in our hearts and embrace the responsibility.
Yeah, man. So here's a challenge for 2024 for all the men that are listening to this. Like plug in, like step up. Even if you're not ready, even if you don't know a thing about, baseball, but your kid wants to play baseball, like step up and be the coach. Like get out there and be a part of their life. Volunteer at the school. Like go do library, go do reading group, like go, do spelling tests, go volunteer to be the driver on a field trip. Like step up, like be the guy cheering on the field instead of on the sidelines, right? Like we need more engagement from men. So do it.
Giddy up. And if you find yourself saying, man, I'm so busy with work,
I'm so busy. Yeah.
cool. Challenge that. Challenge that. I just challenged the guy the other day. I'm like, yeah, I'm actually doing Watch Dogs tomorrow. I'm like, I'm doing Watch Dogs tomorrow. And he's like, oh man, The first time we had this conversation, he was like, "Oh, I can't do it with work. I'm so busy." I'm like, "Oh, well, are you sure? Why? Why?" And then the next time we talked about it, it was a different approach. He's like, "Yeah, I'm looking at the calendar." I'm like, "Dude, you can make it happen, man." Like, let's be honest, dude. A lot of guys out there, if you have the opportunity to go, if your golf is your thing, and you have an opportunity to go for a day at golf, like somehow you find a way to get off of work, some
Yeah.
magical way, you find a way to go golf. But when it comes to doing something at the kid's school, oh, so I'm not judging that. I don't care what you do. You know, they're not my kids, and you're not my whatever. But just be honest. Just be honest. And I love people tell me that people tell me too. They're like, "Oh, it's because you're retired now." I'm like, I retired from the military. Like that does not mean I'm retired, and my paycheck
Yeah.
got cut in half. So like, let's not make this
We
something
have
it's not.
four other businesses that we run.
Oh, I'm like, hey, don't use me as the excuse of why you can't do something.
Yeah.
Hey, ownership, dude. Ownership and honesty. Go do it. Be an amazing man. Be an amazing dad. If you don't have kids, go plug in and be an influence for those kids. See ya. Do it.
See ya.